Before we jump into today's show, I've got a really exciting announcement to make. The autumn cohorts for Start Your Podcast group program are now open. There are 5 dates between September and October, and it's a 6-week program that will get you launched before Christmas. So if podcasting was on your to-do list this year, if you really want to get your podcast up and done by the end of 2023, then come and join me for one of those cohorts and let's make it happen. I have a free masterclass available for you called Understanding the Power of Podcasting. You can go over to donnaeade.com/masterclass, watch the masterclass and get access to that enrollment. I hope to see you in one of the autumn cohorts very soon. That's donnaeade.com/masterclass. Let's get back to the show. Welcome to the Society of Professional Wedding Vendors podcast. My name's Donna Eade. I'm your host, and today on episode 25, we have the fantastic Catherine Chapman with us. She is the queen of piloxing. You will find out all about that later. And she's here to talk about how we can use exercise to help us with our well-being. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am so delighted to have the lovely Catherine Chapman with me on the podcast. Hi, Catherine. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. What a super idea to have your wellness month.
Yes, well, I thought it would be a good idea for vendors to actually look a little bit inward. We've been sort of looking out at what the government's been saying, and it's all been a bit doom and gloom, and I think we're kind of in that position where we're maybe neglecting ourselves a little bit from the worry and everything else. And I think when you don't take care of yourself, it's a lot harder to deal with worry and anxiety. So I have brought you on today, my dear, because you are the queen of Pilates and you have the lovely Vitality Rooms that has just recently launched. So we will talk about that a little bit later. So I thought you would be a great person to come on and talk to us about how we can help improve our mental state through the power of exercise. And I know that's something you're very passionate about.
Oh, absolutely.
So with that said, can you talk to us to start with about how exercise can actually help with our mental state? Because I think a lot of people think, I just need to do exercise because I need to lose these bingo wings, or I want a flat tummy, so I need to do some crunches, and they don't think about actually how that works with their mental health.
Well, I think that when people start to actually exercise, they do realize that it is a whole lot more than just like losing the weight or losing the body fat, as I would say. There's things like, runner's high is a thing. It's an actual thing. Many people may not agree if running is not your thing, but it is an actual thing. And you don't have to be running. You can be doing anything, and you can get that high, that an endorphin kick. But also things like if you're doing something that you really enjoy doing, it just gets that stress out. That's what this movement for our bodies is designed to do, is just to run it all out of us. And also just the fact that you are spending some time on yourself. I often used to say, when I first started Pilates, you'd have these ladies lying there, and this would probably be the first time in the entire day that they had thought solely of themselves for 45 minutes. Every day we're running around, we're doing, and we never actually give back to ourselves. So the fact that you're doing that is really, really empowering. Yeah. And also the fact that when you start to move your body, it does the complete opposite to what everybody thinks it's going to do, and it gives you more energy. And then you don't feel like a sack of spuds. And you start to be able to want to do other things, whether it's other things for somebody else, or whether it's stuff for your business, or whether it's stuff for you. You've then got the energy and the wherewithal to be able to go and do all the things that you need to do in life. So it really is a holistic approach. Lots of people do start out like looking at the physical aspects of it, but really, really quickly people realize that it's about the whole being, and the mental health is just a massive part of it, definitely.
Yeah. I feel like for me, I do have that kind of thing that stops me. Like I get tired so quickly and I just think I haven't got the energy to do it. I haven't got the energy to do it. So you just say, oh, actually, no, doing it will give you more energy. It just makes me think, oh, maybe I should get off my backside a little bit.
And switch the narrative that you've got, like that energy thing that you say, oh, I'm too tired. Do switch it over and go, I know this is going to give me energy, so I'm going to do it. Or like, I'm feeling too tired, and you think, no, this is going to make me feel fantastic, or this is going to give back to my body. And just completely flip all the ideas, all the negative ideas and excuses and reasons, you know, that may seem really valid lots of times, which, and then, I mean, they are lots of times, but the reasons to exercise are so much bigger than all of the reasons that you can create to not do.
All the excuses, everybody. She's talking about the excuses not to exercise.
I do you know what, that word comes up so often, and I do actually purposely try and avoid the word.
I'll say it. You're all making excuses.
You say it.
Oh dear. Okay, so something that I do struggle with, and this might be something that others struggle with as well, so any tips in this area would be greatly appreciated. So I actually started yoga at the beginning of lockdown. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I've always felt that was quite a mindful exercise and thought that it would be good for my anxiety and depression. And so I started that at the beginning of lockdown, fearing that lockdown was going to send me over the edge, forgetting that actually I'm an introvert and being in my house is my happy place. So I'm quite happy at home. But I did it for about 60 days. I did a 30-day set, and then I did another 30-day set. And then I kind of intermingled a few of the other videos that I saw. And then all of a sudden, one day I didn't do it, 2 days, and now I'm not doing it. And, you know, they say that you're supposed to do something however many times or for however many weeks for it to become a habit, but I'm like, I did 60 solid days and it didn't stick. So is there anything that we can do, tricks or tips for trying to create that habit and keeping it going?
Yep, well, absolutely. Maybe, I mean, they say like 21 days or thereabout is the formation of a habit. Maybe you just were not completely sold into what you were doing. I don't know. I think that you need to find something that really does light your fire. For me, especially for things like exercise, when it does have quite a kind of, lots of people are like, oh God, I've got to exercise, that sort of thing. You need to find something that you really love. You do have to exercise, and by exercise, I mean move your body, but you need to find something that kind of really lights your fire. It doesn't have to be like just jogging on a treadmill or going to the gym. It can be anything that moves you. Sort out the cardio stuff, get yourself a little bit hot and sweaty, or sort out the strength stuff, particularly for ladies that are getting to a certain age. Things like weight training for us are really, really, really important. And maybe you wouldn't think about something like that. So trying lots and lots of different things and finding something that really kind of really sparks you, that you actually want to go out and do, that you actually say, no, I'm not going to go and have that cup of coffee, or no, I'm not going to stay in and watch a movie with the kids, or, you know, all those other things that are lovely. You're like, no, I really want to go out and do that. So try loads of different things and see what fits. Also, when you're first starting, and this links in with things like anxiety and depression as well, when you're first starting to exercise, just start off with small amounts of time. Don't think for 1 second that you need to be in the gym or pounding the pavements for hours at a time. It's the actually getting and doing, and then starting to move your body, and then starting to feel that feeling that I know that you'll feel when you move your body, and getting that in regularly. And then you can start to expand on that time. But it's just little like bite-sized chunks, realizing actually it's not that difficult and it's okay. And then starting to feel the benefits just from like 10-15 minutes, and then realizing actually that's really nice. And that then makes you want to do it again. I've suffered with anxiety, really acute anxiety, and the only time that I felt completely myself was when I was exercising. So either if I was teaching it and I'd kind of go into a bit of a different role, I'd almost just go and be somebody else while I was teaching, or I was out running or doing a class or something, and it just kind of takes you out of yourself, just stops that whirring machine going on all of the time in the background. So so these are things that I have done. There's not, they are in books, I have read this, but it's stuff that I've done as well that totally works.
I'm actually going to link a book in the show notes, guys, and I am so terrible at names. I cannot remember his name, but he is a doctor for the BBC. I think he's one of the doctors on the BBC, and he released a book not long ago called I can't even remember what the book's called, but I will find it and I will link it. And he talks about the habit of 5 minutes. He had a patient come in who was overweight, and he told him to sort of go to the gym twice a week for an hour or something, and the guy left all motivated, and it was talking about motivation, how you need motivation, and you don't need motivation, guys. That's not what you need, because he came back in 4 weeks later with his head down, feeling very sorry for himself, and told the doctor he hadn't been able to do it. And the doctor said, there's something wrong with what I was telling him, and I needed to figure out a way to help my patient. So he said, so I took my jacket off and I showed him 3 exercises that he could do in 5 minutes, and I said, can you do that? And he was like, yeah, I can do that. He said, well, go and do that 5 minutes every day. And he came back 4 weeks later. Oh, I smashed those 5 minutes. I did it 3 times a day, and he had improved. And it's absolutely fantastic. So I will link that book in the show notes, guys, because what you say, I think that is where I went wrong, is I went straight in for these 20 minutes, half hour, every day, and burnt myself out with it. Maybe
it's got to be a realistic goal and an achievable routine. Absolutely. Oh, and what you said just then, motivation.
She was getting very excited, ladies and gentlemen. You couldn't see her, but she was literally like shaking her hands at the screen.
Motivation is BS. All right. And you've heard that there. It's not until you have done the exercises and you start to feel the benefits, you then get the motivation. So don't wait for motivation. Don't search it, because it's not going to come, people. It's not going to come. You need to do the movement first, and then you will realize the benefits, and that is when you will be motivated to do it. So don't wait for the motivation. You need to find something that's fun, that gets you to actually leave the house or do it in the house, wherever you want to do it.
Exactly. Which leads nicely on to our next question. For exercise, when we're looking at getting our brains back into some semblance of normal, are we better to be exercising outdoors rather than indoors? Is there a difference?
Apart from the fact, obviously, there's a preference, because there are plenty of people that are not going to want to be exercising out in nature, and on the flip side, there are plenty of people that will not want to be in confined spaces. At the moment, it's probably really good for us to be out in nature, whilst we're all trying to keep away from each other. So actually the outdoor classes are fantastic, because I feel like you can really exercise and not have to worry about kind of impacting and breathing and doing all that sort of stuff over anybody else. And the fact that you are out in nature for human beings has just phenomenal powers on its own. You're walking, you're running, you're swimming in the sea, all those sorts of things are absolutely wonderful. However, if like the nature element puts you off, then for you, working out inside is much better, because at the end of the day, it's whatever motivates you to move.
Just gets you moving,
gets you going. I mean, mine are all, actually, no, through the summer, when I was doing my Zoom classes, I didn't work out outside. I felt like I inflict enough on my neighbours without having me shout across the gardens. I think they can probably hear me from my studio most of the time anyway. But there were plenty of my ladies that were taking whatever devices I was on outside into the garden, and they were working out outside in the sunshine, and the sun was setting. Fantastic. If the elements are with us, I think it's probably a really, really good place to exercise. However, if they're not, don't use that same excuse. Get exercising.
Definitely. No excuses, no more excuses. So one of the things that I actually love doing, and I think this is one of the best forms of exercising, is to go for a walk. Just a walk. Like Catherine's been saying through this whole podcast, it's about moving your body. It's not about, necessarily sweating buckets or, coming home feeling like you've run a marathon. This we're talking about exercise for the mind here. And I don't think you have to, there has to be a lot of sweat equity in that. But is there an exercise that is better for giving us that energy lift over any other, or are they all good for that?
Again, I think I end up with the same answer for lots of these. It is individual. So it's what's going to make you feel really, really fantastic. And knowing that that's different on each day. So some days going for a run is going to give me a buzz. Now, I've not actually run a lot in lockdown. I regularly run with Park Run and Junior Park Run. And as they've not been running,
neither has Catherine.
But as they've not been running through lockdown, neither have I. And I like that social element of running. It doesn't come that naturally to me, so I don't put that much into it, but I do enjoy it on a small scale. So sometimes that might be it. Sometimes going into some sort of almost flowing meditative Pilates is what will give me the buzz. I don't think I've ever done a Pilates class and not had that absolute buzz by the end of it. I mean, the dripping buckets, out of breath, totally wrung out and exhausted, and in complete glee and high and just totally merry. It's whatever makes you feel like that. And listen to yourself. And if you feel like you want to go for it and like hammer and tongs, then woo, go for it. And if you feel like you need more of a stretch, and that again, you can just sit and do some stretches. Say you're feeling, maybe you did Pilates in the day before, maybe you're feeling a little bit achy, and you sit and you do some stretches, and maybe you incorporate them into something that vaguely looks like Pilates or yoga, and you sort of flow your way through it. And you play some really nice music. Music has a big part of exercise for me and for lots and lots of people. So you could play something kind of really loud and all consuming in like a classical kind of way, or you could whack the rock on and do some weights. There's not a one size fits all. There is certainly no rules about all this stuff. It's what makes you feel amazing, but you have got to do it.
Yeah. And I think that's so good. And I think that's the best thing to come out of what we've been speaking about today, is that I think a lot of people feel like, oh, I've got to go and do this, or I got to go and do that. And if I don't do that, then I'm failing at exercise, or I'm not doing what I should be doing. And what's the point in even bothering if I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to be doing? So the fact that you said that, this is an individual journey, guys. You've got to find things that you love to do and things that are going to bring you the joy, and you've just got to take the time to discover that. And I think even through that discovery, you are going to be putting your mindset in a better place. So try yoga. If it doesn't work, you've given yourself 10 minutes of peace and quiet. That's going to do you good. Try walking, walk around the block. This is my new habit that I'm trying to get into, is getting up in the morning and actually just walking around the block before I sit at my desk. Because, once upon a time, we used to commute to work. I'm not really doing that now. And it was something that I don't know whether it was in a networking meeting or something else, but they said it was in one of the mums networking meetings, actually. She said that a couple had been working from home and had got into this rut of just getting up, getting straight to their office, finishing late at night, going to bed and repeating the routine. So they decided they needed to do something different. They'd get up, they'd have their morning coffee together, have their breakfast together. They would put on their coats, kiss each other goodbye at the door, walk in opposite directions and come back and go to work. And it just gave them that little bit of time on their own, a little bit of time to reflect, a little bit of space, a little bit of fresh air, just walking around the block, guys. That could be as easy as the start of it. So I think that's
I love
brilliant.
That. My alarm is set on my watch for 11,000 steps. That's when the fireworks go off on my watch. And so on a normal day pre-lockdown, that would go off through the day at some point with ease. And I don't think I'm exaggerating saying that I don't think those fireworks went off more than about 4 or 5 times during lockdown. That's how much our physical activity has reduced. And I mean, this is including me doing, sometimes I do 3 classes a day and then train one-to-one people in between that. And well, as you can probably even hear, I am not someone that just sits and gives instructions. I am there doing the full workout with them.
Yeah.
So the fact that in this current situation, our mobility is so much more reduced is even more reason you're, funnily enough, that you've got to keep moving. I love that they went and offered opposite directions.
Yeah.
You need that quiet time as well. That's a big thing, which is why I started Vitality Rooms, because it's not just the exercise, it's all the other bits around it. And so if you don't give your body and your mind that quiet time to kind of hear yourself, at some point it's going to stop you in your tracks and make you listen. You need that time. You need to hear your intuition. You need to hear your inner voice, whatever you want to call it. It needs to speak to you. If you're not listening, it's gonna make you listen.
So exercise is really important, not only for our physical well-being, but for our mental well-being as well. Obviously, guys, if you have not even thought about exercise, then you might want to contact your doctor and just check before deciding to run a marathon or something. But there is nothing to stop you from walking around the block. We walk around the shop, so we can walk around a block. So that is a great place to start. So, Catherine, is there any exercise that you would say is your favourite exercise to do?
Oh, don't. If you asked any of my clients that, I think they'd say, God, she says that about every single exercise. I go, oh, we do this, and oh, this is my favourite. Oh, this is my favourite. All of the time. I love Pilates.
What is Pilates?
For anyone that doesn't know, because it sounds a bit odd. So it sounds like some sort of contagious. Of Pilates, stand-up Pilates and boxing, and it's done to incredible music. Kind of think a little boxercise, and we do it in blocks. So we do a block of stand-up Pilates and then a block of boxing. There's a little bit of dance in there. I don't put that in very often because I'm certainly no dance teacher. And then there's a section at the end where we really concentrate on our butt and our abs, it's great fun. The music's amazing, and it's all high energy, but it's quite low impact. It's just absolutely fantastic. So that, for me, if I need to lose myself in something, is probably the thing I would go to, because I know even if I'm kind of lagging through the first, like the warm up, and and I have those little voices in my head still that go, oh, you don't really need to do all this class. We could just do 20 minutes and go and watch the TV. I have them too, I promise. But by the time I've got through like the warm up and the first track, I'm like, yeah, let's go. And the rest is history. We just roll.
And sometimes that's all you need, isn't it? Like I've heard it said before, and I've done it when I used to run. It would be, just let me get to that next lamppost. Just let me get to that next street. Just let me get to, and before I've known it, I've run 3K and I'm just like, yes, that'll do. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's like, 20 times longer than I was expecting to go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Having that goal, that if I go out for a run, I do have a distance that I want to cover. Otherwise, I'll get to the end of it. I'll get to the bottom of the hill and go, oh, no, that'll do. And I'll come back up.
Go have a cup of tea now.
Yeah,
I'll walk back up the hill.
Going, where are we going?
Love it. So, Catherine, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do. You are down in sunny Whitstable, but anybody around the country can actually get access to you now, which is fantastic. So tell us all about what it is that you do on the daily and how people can find you.
Yeah, so I've actually, since lockdown, I've put all of my classes online. So that was what I was doing most of the way through lockdown, was perfecting that. So I've created something called All Class, which is all of my classes, funnily enough. That's 6 classes a week. all online. So they pay a monthly subscription, which is the equivalent of 1 class a week. And they can go to 1 class, or they can go to 6 classes, whatever takes their fancy. So,
and what are the
I worked on
classes that you do?
So I do 2 Pilates classes, so mat Pilates classes. I do 2 Piloxing classes, which I told you about, and then I do 2 HIIT Pilates classes, which is something I created because lots of people were saying, oh, I really like Pilates, but I really want to sweat. I really want to feel like I've had a good workout.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, be careful what you wish for.
Catherine Chapman is your fairy exercise godmother.
Oh, yeah. Bibbidi bobbidi boo, you've got HIIT Pilates. So basically we do it in blocks, and it's Pilates moves done to 145 beats per minute. You don't have to do it that fast, but I'm always going to encourage you to. And it's aimed at, obviously you get the cardio from it, but I try and incorporate the muscle building, the strength, the sculpting that the Pilates brings to it as well. So yeah, so that's an absolute rock star of a workout as well. So yeah, we have
got something for everyone there. You know, you can literally go and get an all class pass for 1 month, try all of the classes, and you're going to find something that is going to fit into your lifestyle and what it is that you like to exercise.
Completely.
So that's fantastic.
Completely. And I like that all class pass. It's a subscription, but you can sign up at any point through the month, and you can also cancel it at any point in the month if you don't feel like it's working for you. So that was my work all the way through lockdown. But also, as I said, I've also created Vitality Rooms, which is another subscription, and you can mix and match it with all class. I won't try and confuse anybody too much, but Vitality Rooms is a lot more holistic. We've got a kitchen in there with all of the recipes, and there's meal planners and portion control ideas and lots of bits and pieces in there. And obviously there's the fitness suite where all of the pre-recorded exercises are. And then there is the study, which is where your mind hub is, which is where I think most of my growth is going to be, because there's meditation in there, there's hypnosis in there, there's going to be some tips and tricks on anxiety in there. And that's the bit that's going to grow, I think, because for me, that bit, along with the exercise, is what got me through lockdown with any form of sanity. There wasn't much there to begin with, but we managed to hold on to a little bit of it.
Oh, that's fantastic. So the Vitality Rooms then is for everybody, even if they're not an exerciser, because there's so many other areas in there that are covered. It's kind of like you said, it's your well-being center. And that's such a fantastic idea to bring it all together in one place, so people can just sort of dip in, go and find something that's just going to hit their nerve that they've got that needs touching at that point. So that's
exactly
fantastic.
what I've told them to do. Just go and try all these different things, and I'm going to continue to fill it up, because again, when there's no one size fits all, so you've got to kind of suck it and see if that fits for you and your lifestyle. And if it doesn't, there's no guilt. Don't attach anything to that. Put it down, pick something else up, and just try that. There's so many ways that we can look after ourselves. So yeah, that's absolutely, just keep sucking and seeing.
So what is the website address for Vitality Rooms?
It's literally www.vitalityrooms.co.uk, and I'm on all the social media, just Catherine Chapman Pilates. I am always there and totally happy if anybody's got any questions that they want to send me a message. I am very human, so please send away, and I'd happily be contacted and send messages back to you guys.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Catherine. We will put all of the links to all of the various things in the show notes, guys. So if you want to find a nice clickable link, then head over to the website spwv.co.uk, and it will be there for you as well. That's it for today. Thank you, guys. Bye for now. don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.